just for like 5 minutes, I was wanting to touch on the Salok from Mang Romy again. We did alright with the Salok Seguidas part, but there was 2 things. Funnily enough, I think I mentioned someone commented on the video. They deleted their comment. I went to reply to them and I was like, oh crap. But they pointed out, like you should make sure that your pommel is below their hand. So like if you did like a horizontal one like that, then as I'm doing it, my hand should be lower than your hand. And I know we've gone through that. I didn't emphasize it enough in the video. Like they're 100% right. Mang Romy worded it as making sure that your hand isn't in path of like their weapon. So as long as your hand is lower than the path of their sword, it's okay. But path of their sword, hand, it's in the same like level. So I understand it. I'm actually really curious to know what they train because they won't use the word pommel. So I'm assuming that they do some kind of HMA or European style. So I'm like, if you see this, please write in the comment. But yeah, they are 100% right. You got to make sure your hand's lower. I know we did it in class when me and Tom were going through it, because any time that we did the move and we were 2 in line, it felt like it skipped and almost hits the hand, where every time that we went lower, it made it like a solid connection and kept the connection the whole way along the spine, and it never felt like it was like loose at all. So that I think is fine. You guys already understand that. I just more wanted to verbalize it so we had it as a reference as well for ourselves, because I'm going to link it to the old video. The main thing that I wanted to do for today, because I would have just written that as a comment if that was it, but I had a look at Mang Romy's thing again and realized that his wording was a bit different, and I once again almost done the reverse of what his one was. So we were following the principle of Ilustrisimo of like using the flat of the blade versus the edge of the blade. So as that move was coming, I was going forward and I'm punching it down and making sure my hand's lower, and then that way it would hit my hand and then I can still control it, and it's almost knocking the tip down as well at the same time. Gave me a lot of control because it let me intercept it. A lot of time, because I had my forward lean, it made it really easy to control, cover the gap, come through for everything else. But that's not how Mang Romy was doing it. He did the opposite. He's not going towards it. He said he steps away from it, and instead of using his edge against their flat, he's using his flat against their edge. So like, I realized that this way, like, he's not breaking another Ilustrisimo rule. Like that by me turning towards that, I'm not pointing the tip or the edge towards you. Where his one, he's essentially still got the tip and the edge facing you, and that comes. And he's, once again, his hand is lower than the line of the attack, but he's letting their sword hit the flat of his, and then as it hits his, he scoops and goes through like that. At first I didn't like it as much because I was playing around with it with like a couple other students in sparring, like a couple of low ranks in the training, and I liked before the control of knocking it down, also knowing like, if I didn't make the connection, you could knock it in. But if I stepped with it and made sure my hand was lower, a lot of time I could go through it. But occasionally I'd do it and it would bounce off and I'd lose the control. So it would intercept it. But I didn't always get to stick to it like I wanted to. And also it was a bigger motion to go here to here, where like that turn of the sword is a bigger movement. Where his one, as it hits it, it almost rolls around the blade in a smaller circle. So his one's actually faster and it sticks to the blade a bit better, because I'm not knocking the blade away and then connecting to it again. A lot of time I was knocking it and following it and going with it, but sometimes I do it and it bounces too far and I disconnect. His one connects a bit better and rolls past. It also gives the illusion makes you feel like you can do a seating parry and go into a shot. But it's essentially rolling, and then once it's on this side, now it's always like a seating parry. Everything else is the same. All our follow-up was okay. All the jamming and feeding through.
Did you say it was at a different angle though?
No, still mostly at the horizontal and stuff. The footwork, sorry, yeah. He's doing a Dorello pivot, I believe, like a ready rider Dorello. Right. So I'm like, or an elastico. So like, as this is coming, because it's horizontal, a lot of time he's taking that right line with his right foot, pivoting around and facing this way. So that way, if he's got more time to react, he's pulling his hand out of the line. He's essentially lining up in a pagata, but he's doing it because he was actually in range. So it's just extended the time of the strike by and some people will pass the center line as well. So it's more likely to make you over-rotate and pass the center line, which also will make it easier to control. So he's like half like baiting that way because I've just gone this way. So then as this comes, he just drops his hand a little bit lower and that comes through. And he come back with it all. Actually, I might get you on that side for a sec. I'll just show the same thing. So I'm like, it's going to go around like that. And as long as his hand's lower and it's the flat of the blade, he's turning, he's cutting that, hitting that, coming through. Still do the drag and gut, bang. Yeah, do you want to try it?
Yeah, so he's facing.
Yeah, I mean, you once again, you need a little bit better timing. If you just try to dodge it, so try to don't try to ghost it, like a horn. Don't try to do it like a horns of the bull, like Renata, where we are ghosting and going for the thumb. I'm not just trying to do that. I am actually letting it kind of hit, and as it hits, I can like change and do it. The timing's a bit different.
Yeah.
It's just at the last second you kind of drop your hand. But if we already have that lean, I can just put my back foot back a bit more. So like if I go here, and once again it baits so well, people think they've got it. If you go for a thrust, I can come through stuff. I can just turn and still do my rolling blocks. It still feels a bit weird, but it's also nice that it incorporates the footwork. So like it's not me just in front.
No.
Yeah, but I feel like I can still do the other one. The other one just might not be like a Salok. The other one's probably actually more of a seating parry to almost like the principal X where we're changing the line. So it's almost like I've done a seating parry here, and then I've changed my line of attack in case my hand's there to go bang like that. Or it's a seating parry to a La Granada. Like there's so many subtle variations that are close to it that it probably is something else. But I still like the option of both because it's almost like the one I was doing is a forward movement. So if I'm already coming forward and I can't do much, I can do that kind of motion and keep coming forward with it. And I do like being able to punch down. And once again, I'm using the same principle of keeping my hand below the line of the attack.
Yeah.
But if I can read it a bit better, I can step back. That's actually safer. And it's technically faster, I think.
Yeah.
But it means I have a retracting one and an advancing one. I can take the front left line or I can take this right line here. I have the option of both against the same move, which makes me really ambidextrous, which gives me lots of choice for counters and setting up. It means I can change in the moment. I can do one twice. You think I'm moving one way, switch to the other one.
I feel like if I thought you were moving your hand, I'd be coming straight up to your face.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Well, like, that's it. Like if I was going down with it, because like I think they're going like that, and then if you curl up, they do like the spines or whatever. Like, because like if you go over the top of it, then as it clears here, I reckon they're just using those little Floro spines that we're talking about. Going step, bang, coming around. I mean, I do get what you mean though. If you see me doing this and my head's up, but I also feel like they're almost going to do it like if you did a shot at my hand. And like, see, I've moved the hand lower, but I've kind of also lined my head up in line with the weapon. That if you tried to go for me, that's still going to go over the top of my head, but my hand is lower here. If you go too high, it actually gives me more of the forearm bump stuff. But if you drop low, it means that I get what I wanted originally. So I'm like, one's almost like the forearm bump entries that we've been working on the last couple of months. Otherwise, if they drop low, then I can do this a lot. The low was giving me more issues. Because like anytime I was high, I could roll, I could do little spines or whatever, but when it was low, if my sword was preoccupied or doing something, a lot of time I had to step back, and it was making me exit when I didn't want to, when now I have the option of staying in, or I can re-enter and use it against them.
Just trying to think how big it is. It's because like, we're close and we're used to bringing our hands up.
Do the one that we're doing last time. Like is it like it was like a seating parry mixed with a Salok, mixed with a La Granada or whatever. Like I'll have to look at it and see if there's an actual name for the one we're doing.
Because if we're this close, we don't usually leave our hands down anymore, do we?
But if you step away a bit more, and then I was gonna say I'm like, and also like, and have the edge facing me a bit. So I'm like, so like you're not, so you're letting it hit the flat, and then you're rolling, like your flat here almost goes flat on top and then flat on the spine, and there's almost no disconnection, and it's a really fast roll. So I'm like, yeah, see it very naturally, and that also feels like it pushes past my center line. Like you move that, like the last like little like wedge there, hits the thumb, and then everything with the follow-up, the Salok seguidas that we're doing, that's all fine. It nearly always goes back to that vertical entry to the shoulder, whether it's the inside or the outside. I mean, the other follow-ups are a little bit different, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do try a couple, because I think one side also felt better than the other. So my even here, still have it pointed at me more. Yeah. So it's like that. You can just step that way at the last second. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then even here, you could do a backhand slash at my neck and fall that way. Oh, you do. That's what I mean. I'm like, because you've also flicked it out there, so you get an extra half a beat to throw in a next offense shot. So I nearly off every Salok try to do some kind of extra attack. The Salok is just a setup, I reckon, for the follow-up. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice defensive counter that also does some damage, can chop the thumb, and that could just end the whole fight. Like very Tan, like doing that, like the Indonesian fight that he did in the 90s. But I think, I want to make sure, just in case you do miss it or you hit the wrong part or they got a glove on, I want to do some follow-up. I like doing the weapon shoulder because it means you can use their thumb and their weapon shoulder. Yeah. It means that like that even if it was a blunt weapon, that would still do a lot of damage. If I hit your thumb with a stick and the shoulder with a stick, the shoulder tendons are not good. They get damaged pretty easily.
I suppose as we're reversing out, I mean we're trying to keep our hand back here. Yeah. But a lot of the time we're sort of baiting. You know how you've been going for my hand.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm like, if you're mid strike and you see, and especially you see like someone go for that, because maybe you didn't pull it back enough, and then maybe as you go for that, I drop it lower, and then. So I mean, like you can potentially now bait for more things that were going for the hand, which is nice. Exactly. It's a good mid attack change of defense. And it's still very offensive, which is very Ilustrisimo. Like your defense is still covering and doing something. But I just thought it was good to touch on because if it
is different.
Yeah, well that's it. Like if you do like the angle 3 and 4 at us, because like the other day I was really going bang, coming in, and the backhand side, same thing. I felt very comfortable doing that. Where now Mang Romy's one is more away, and it feels way lighter. And it's just a bit like it's
very much
seems very fast, like, but it's very easy to still step back in. Like of any of these, actually like my hand needs to be a little bit lower, and then still stepping in, still easy, doing drag, doing the hacks, and then on the other side it's not really any different. I got that, bang, and then I'm still going square, tipping it. As long as it feels like a football step now. Because I do that backhand one, so I'm almost stepping away, like coming like towards this way with left foot out, but then I'm coming back in and then jam. So it really feels like I go back here, in, which is very football-y. Yeah, try the backhand one, it's interesting. To see that.
Oh, it's flat.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. And then hit the shoulder as you come back in, but then go towards the arm and jam it with your left forearm. Yeah, and then from here, you got that. Exactly. Nice, and that's good. You're flaring that well now. Yeah, so like I said, it feels a bit different. I'm probably going to use both. Right, but once again, I want to call things by the right name. So like, I'm gonna, the one that hits our type of blade, that's the correct Salok, the right sweeping motion. I want to do it exactly how Mang Romy's doing it. I'm really stoked for the show, guys. Other than that, we can go over the Amara in class again, I think. That was just Tatan's Sinawali. The Amara means not, and he's not letting his hands get closer than that. The tip barely cross as well. So everything he's doing, like he's powering and moving off the line, he's keeping his tips forward still, and still moving his head. And then he can do the Sinawalis, but it means he's never going to be bound. That what we always talk about that, even empty-handed, all you have to do is time it, almost spine the first one, they're crossed over. You can just step in and drive. You can pun your knee, elbow, or just kill them if you got your own blade. But yeah, it's interesting. But thank you, man.
Yeah,
Do a bit
cheers.
of sparring.
Right. So we use it.